solve by completing the square. First step is to eliminate the coefficient of z squared. So here we can divide each term by 2. Then I would get z squared minus 7 over 2z minus 2 is equal to 0. To solve by completing the square, we take the coefficient of z, which is minus 7 over 2, and we need to divide this by 2 and then square the whole thing. Since this is a fraction, I'm going to write it as dividing by 2 over 1, and then we have to square the whole thing. So in this case I get negative 7/2. When you divide by 2, it's like you're multiplying by 1/2. And then when you square the whole thing, then you would have minus 7 over 4 squared. So we need 49 over 8. So in this case, 4 times 4 is 16. 49 over 16. This is a magic number. We need to add to these two terms to complete the square. You notice that I don't need this negative 2. So I can add 2 to both sides of the equation here to move that to the other side of the equation. So far, I would have on the left-hand side I get z squared minus 7/2 z. Now I already know that I need 49 over 16 to complete the square, so I need to add that to the left-hand side. I'm going to add 49 over 16 here to the left-hand side. In order to maintain my original equation, I need to add 49 over 16 to the other side of the equation as well. So remember, on the other side I have 2 over 1. So now on the right-hand side, I also have to add 49 over 16. So I'm really adding 0 to this equation. I'm not changing the original equation. By doing that, left-hand side would be completed square. So but in the left-hand side would be factorable. Not only would be factorable, the two binomial would be exactly the same. So here would be z, here would be z. This number here always would be the square root of this number. Actually, it would be this number here, 7/4. So in this case, we have 7/4 here, 7/4 here. Both must be negative because we have minus 7/2. You can always check your answer, make sure that makes sense. So let's do that. This is 7/4. Okay. How do you check your answer? You can look at z times z would be z squared. Now if I multiply z by 7/4, it would be 7/4 z, and then 7/4 z, if I add 7/4 and 7/4, that gives you 7/2, which is the middle term. And the last two terms would be right there. So that confirms that everything is good to go. So on the right-hand side, we need to combine these two. The LCD is 16, so I need to multiply the first fraction by 16 over 16. And then the right-hand side would add up to 49 plus 2 times 16, which is 32. It would be 32 plus 49 over 16. And on the right-hand side, you see you have z minus 7/4 square. We completed the square here on the right-hand side. So we have z minus 7/4 square is equal to 81 over 16. So now we can use the square root properties. We can say z minus 7/4 must be equal to plus and minus square root of 81 over 16. So if I solve for z would be equal to, if I subtract 7/4 from both sides of the equation, then I would have, actually if I add 7/4 from both sides of the equation, then I would get 7/4 here, plus and minus square root of 81 over 16. This is perfectly squared, so it would be z is equal to 7 over 4 plus and minus, thank you, you said 9 over 4, that's correct. So we get two solutions here. Z is equal to 7/4 plus 9 over 4, which is equal to what? 16. Very good. 16 over 4, which is equal to what? Can I reduce that? 4, yeah. And then the other answer would be z is equal to 7/4 minus 9/4, which is equal to what? Negative 2 over 4, which is equal to negative 1/2. So the solution to this would be 4, also would be negative 1/2. So remember, to solve by completing the square, step number 1 is to make sure that the coefficient of z squared is equal to 1, so this method would work. So we need to divide each term by whatever number we have here, and then once we've done that, we take the coefficient of z, we divide it by 2, we square it. This would be a magic number we need to add to both sides of the equation to complete the square, and use square root property to solve for this.